I can remember the day Adam was diagnosed like it was yesterday. It was quite amazing that this news could just be given to you like someone hands you a cup of coffee.
That night, I had to sit down with my children, and I still remember this vividly as if it's happening now. I sat down on the stairs of our house with them and tried to make some sense of what was I going to tell them? What was I going to tell them? And I just sat on the stairs with them and I held them close and I somehow blurted out the words that Adam was very seriously ill and he was going to pass. "35 years ago, the hospitals were really primitive in their facilities for caring for children who are hospitalized.
And so that's how the fund was born, thinking about how we could improve one's life in the hospital.
Do we sit here and we forget about what happened to us? Do we just go on with our lives? Or do we try to do something to change a horrible situation?" And Ellen and I really felt that our first object of changing child life in the hospital was not to donate money, but to be creative, because the hospitals at that time were not creative. There was really no thought given to what do we do for a child who's in the hospital all the time? How do we make him happy? How do we keep the families together? Our first target was the recreation room. It had to be the focus of the child's activities when they weren't really having any kind of procedures done.
It was a room that said playroom, but there was really very little in there.
My memory of the playroom is it was sort of like a closet with board games. So my parents asked themselves, how could they make an impact on people's lives who face the same situation they did? And this was what they decided would be the most meaningful, impactful thing to change this whole space and transform it.
Daniel was diagnosed with a congenital heart defect, hypoplastic right heart syndrome. So basically, he only has half a heart. Daniel has been coming to NYU since birth. I just love the care that they provide for the children. Like, aside from just the medical care that the great nurses and doctors give, you have like the child life department and social work who all come together to make the experience as normal as they can for the child while they're here.
My name is Siobhan Green and I'm the Child Life Patient Media Coordinator. So one of the advantages of using technology and media with patients in hospitals is really meeting kids where they're at. Kids today are obsessed with using iPads and gaming consoles and technology, and it's something that really engages them, particularly in learning and also in expressing their feelings. It feels really natural to them. And so this is just a way for us to meet our goals as child life specialists, which is to allow children to express how they're feeling and to help normalise the hospital environment and to help with coping. And technology really allows us to do all of those things.
So what we have now and what we donate to is a child life worker who's there with the child, who's soothing the child, who's playing with the child and distracting the child. Yes, the parents are there and it's very important, but child life workers have special techniques to help the child. The hospital provides the medical care. We provide the emotional support to those families and children. That's who we are.
I had a patient who was 4 years old, having her third cardiac surgery, and she had become incredibly non-compliant with the procedures and the physical therapy and things that she needed because she was really overwhelmed and traumatized by the experience she'd had. Until she met Jazz, which was the name of our previous puppet, and Jazz taught her about why she had to have physical therapy. And once that happened, she started to relate and she said to Mum, like, "Oh, Jazz is doing it." And all of a sudden she started to become more compliant with treatment. She needed less sedation, and it really makes the rest of her stay a lot more comfortable for her and her mum.
They ran tests, and on November 17, 2001, I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. You're not really ever thinking about becoming a cancer patient, so you don't really have an expectation going into it. But when I did show up here at NYU, having the nurses and the doctors that NYU has here, you definitely feel more at ease, right? Because you feel safer. But then kind of experiencing the community that was built here, whether that be, kind of the playrooms, between the playrooms, the social workers, the nurses, the doctors. You feel like a real family. So I think, the walls of this place, really had an impact on me in, beating leukemia.
Having a sick kid is a horrible, horrible experience. And if you can make it the tiniest bit better, the tiniest bit brighter, the impact is enormous.
What you guys have done, with 9 East and the different things that you've supported over the years for the children, being in that position at one point, it helped me be here today, right? And I think it's the perfect legacy for Adam.
And I hope that we have very much helped sick children that were hospitalized at NYU to make their lives a little easier than we had with Adam before he passed.